Something I have always wondered for a very long time is why do Nigerian public school force their students to cut their hair? Like, why do they have to cut their hair just to get an education? And when I dug into the history, I realized that it's not about neatness or discipline. It started with colonialism. Hi besties, my name is TJ Cinema and welcome to my channel. And what we talk about here is basically what you are thinking, and if you vibe or agree to what I'm saying, or even if you don't agree, press that subscribe button and you can see my next video. So, full disclosure, I did not attend a public school, but I grew up around people who did. And it has always fascinated me why they are first to cut their hair and what is the correlation between their hair and their studies. Weird, right? It started with the Europeans when they first came to Nigeria to set up their first missionary school in 1842. And when they came, they didn't just bring education, they brought their way or their sense of obedience and hygiene. And African hair was seen as unruly, unkempt, and simply doesn't suit their standards. So what did they do? They forced children to cut their hair short. And in many African countries, hair is seen as a symbol of age, beauty, identity, even spirituality. So making students cut their hair was break them from their cultural roots and exert control. In 1900, it was discovered that most of southern Nigerian mission schools has enforced this haircut rule. And in the 1920s study, it was discovered that 70% of those mission schools has enforced the law or enforced the policy. And you might be wondering, even after Nigeria got its independence in 1960, it was still discovered that 80% of public secondary school, has still been enforcing this law. Hygiene was the first excuse that was given because they said that the haircut was a way to control infections and lice due to the crowded classrooms. But if it were about the hygiene, private school would have enforced these policies now. But Nigerians never questioned anything. They never questioned this rule. Because in Nigeria, once a rule exists, people see it as normal and they don't even try to make sense of that kind of policy. So you might be wondering, why did this rule still continue in 2025 and definitely beyond? Because I don't see any way this rule is going to be changed. So Nigerian love discipline, or maybe the appearance of discipline. Shaved hair deposits a serious student and a long hair because an unserious student only cares about our appearance. Hair has nothing to do with intelligence. It is even absurd that it is even a rule in the first place, because over time, the female students, most especially, they're the ones that are affected. They feel less feminine and they start to experience low self-esteem. Because if their goal is learning, they should focus on learning and not just the style. So instead of enforcing such a dated policy, I feel Nigerian schools should set neatness guidelines and teach their students as to manage and take care of their hair. At least they should allow simple protective hairstyles like cornrows and braids, so on and so forth. I want to know your experience. If you ever went to a public African school, can tell me your experience. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe and see you in the next video. Bye.